Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, coming again today, you're very welcome. I trust you enjoyed my last video on Kid Rock, and through his song All Summer Long, we looked at memories. So I trust you found that one encouraging. Well, we're going from there to 1965 in Compton, California. Andre Rommel Young. His parents divorced at a pretty young age, and so he was pretty much brought up by his grandmother. But when his mother remarried, enter some stepbrothers and sisters, and a cousin, Sir Jinx. Now, Sir Jinx is pretty well known in the hip hop scene, being involved with such people as Ice Cube and Kid Disaster. So Andre thought, you know what, this hip hop thing's pretty good. You know, I think it kind of tells my story a little bit. You know, life's been a bit challenging for me, so why don't I get a bit of an outlet in this thing called hip hop? Enter the Eve's After Dark Club, and this is where Andre would get to start to do some DJing and some rapping live. He would actually go on to become known as Dr J. And there was certainly around that time, there were some demos starting to be recorded with Dr. J and some other people, and he was starting to get noticed. In fact, he was getting noticed by a group including the World Class Wrecking Crew. And they would say, hey, you know what, we actually like you. I think, why don't you call yourself Dr. Dre? And this is who we're talking about today. And you're pretty good on the turntable, so you know what, why don't you come and perform with us? And that's certainly what he did. And the album and the song Surgery was released in 1984, and that sold 50,000 copies in the Compton area. So you know, Dr. Dre well and truly was getting established in the Western Coast hip hop scene. Now the East West, I suppose, feud has been well documented, and but all I wanted to bring out, I think, about that, because we always focus on positives in this channel, whereas the East Coast was talking about romance and love and getting on and all that sort of thing, the West Coast was thinking more about, hey, this is our story, and this is a medium that we can use to tell our story. And so, so this is the kind of feel that was starting to happen in America around this time. And on the West Coast, it's really well and truly putting our hearts on our sleeve. And why don't we actually use hip hop to do that? Enter Ice Cube. Now, Ice Cube's an absolute tower in the hip hop scene, and he would actually ask Dr. Dre to join him, and they would start NWA. Now, NWA pretty much crystallized the West Coast hip hop scene in many ways. They would sing about life that was real, life that was challenging at time, and they wear their heart on their sleeve. And because of that, when the 1989 album Straight Outta Compton was released, it was an absolutely massive album, absolutely huge, and you know, well and truly pulverized in some ways, culminated but concreted the West Coast hip hop style into the not just the national scene but the international scene at that point. Dr. Dre would go on to stay with NWA until 1991. And he was also involved with the E-Phil for Zaggin, and he was starting to become quite known as a producer, such people as Eazy-E, Above the Law, Michelle, DOC, JJ Fad, and Jimmy Z, just to name a few. And so Dr. Dre just had a way of putting beats together that would just work, beats that would just bring the song alive, and to be able to capture the essence of what the song was well and truly about. Because he himself had been had an interesting life up until now, he was able to immerse himself well and truly into what the artists were doing, just a natural producer. And Dr. Dre, one of his credits well and truly is his producing. As I said, he did leave NWA in 1991, and Suge Knight said, hey, you know what, I'm just about to form a new record label. Do you want to come along with me? In 1992, introduced his first solo album, The Chronic. Now, this album was absolutely huge. Everybody was waiting for Dr. Dre to release a solo album, and when The Chronic got released in 1992, he became a cultural phenomenon at that point. The album would go on to be triple platinum, and interestingly, Snoop Dogg would actually be part of this album as well. We've got the song Let Me Ride. We've got official and live version of this one below. The live version, about 1:35 in, you get to see the start of Let Me Ride. I think one thing I love about this particular song, and again, you don't always know where you're going to go with artists until you actually get to the bottom of the video. Let Me Ride, it's really what you're saying, you know what, I'm ready to go. I've done my time, I've done my training, I've done my producing, I've actually, worked out who I am as an artist, I've worked out who I am as a songwriter, I've worked out my story and the story that the world needs to hear. So you know what, why don't you come on board with me? And certainly when you do have a bit of a following, with Dr. Dre actually did have at this point, he could actually say that, and absolutely people did come on for the ride and give him a very, very good go indeed. In fact, the industry thought so, and it was in fact in that year that Dr. Dre would actually win a Grammy Award. So if you think about yourself, you think about, the fact that you've done some training, you've done a uni, you've done your degree or double degree or your honours or doctorate or whatever you've done, and you're ready to hit the world. And the world says, you're just another person. It can be challenging to take that step from, being ready, almost being at the starting line, waiting for the starter's gun to fire, and it's not firing. You're running, you're wanting to go, but it's just not firing. It can be a very, very frustrating experience, that, can't it, when you're waiting for the world to start and it's not starting. What do you do about that? Well, first of all, every situation in life we go through, there's something good that can be learned from it. And I think, if anything, of this concept of waiting. We wait. A waiting strategy is really, really important. What do we do while we wait? Do we just sit there and look at the ceiling? No, we do extra little bits that we can do to prepare. Or it could be that, we're feeling anxious and worried and concerned, and we think, well, that will just work itself out when we start working, whatever we're going to be doing. But, often it doesn't. You've got to actually go into those new environments with that calmness and that feeling of being relaxed. Because if you don't, you're just going to get overwhelmed. So perhaps you need to work on that bit. Perhaps there's a particular person in your life that's been problematic and they've been working on you, and you've been thinking, well, perhaps I need to have a conversation with that person, because, if I could just settle this thing in my mind, life would be so much better. Maybe that's what needs to happen. Or it could be that your relationship that you're in is not going so well. You love each other and you can't imagine them not being in your world. But at the same time, things could be better. Well, what can I do to make it better? Perhaps your relationship needs some work. Perhaps relationships with your parents or your family members, where you think it's been working on you. You think, well, that wasn't very good what happened by then, but, I can't let this thing go. What's the reason why you can't let it go? Because something needs to be done about it. It's your brain's way of telling you, hey, you know what? It's be better off for you if you deal with this. And so, well and truly, this concept of let me ride, I'm really, really ready to go. I'm really, really ready to go. It's almost like there's a car waiting for you, but the doors are shut and you can't get in, but it's just sitting there waiting for you to do what you need to do. It's interesting what life does, and from my own personal experience, when I was kind of looking for new work at the beginning of the year, I did the whole job searching thing, but I'd also then walk along, rivers and beaches and things like that, just to kind of settle my mind, to relax it down. And when work did start again, and work can be quite complex at times, I have a bit more of a relaxed mindset about it. So when I do get to ride, the riding is actually going really, really well. So I trust you'll find all that a bit of an encouragement today, but at the same time, let me acknowledge how tricky these times can be. So Dr. Dre was a cultural phenomenon at this point, absolutely. He was starting to dominate funk, absolutely. He would actually go on to produce Snoop Dogg's debut album, Doggy Style, and this debuted at #1 in the Billboard Top 200. So there we go. We can't say any more than that. In 1995, he was involved with Tupac Shakur, and the song "Californian Love" was released. Now, Tupac was also a tower on the west coast of the United States. That particular song, "California Love," got to #1 in the Billboard Hot 100. This is a massive dance track, and again, in its own kind of way, the West Coast was saying, whoever can control the dance floor controls the people. And this is how sort of nasty things were getting in the mid 1990s. To be able to just, I think, again, the "Let Me Ride" thing goes to the extreme. That is, you know what, we have something to offer you, so come along for the ride. But to be involved with Tupac and to actually see this official clip of this particular song, it's a bit poignant because Tupac's no longer with us. But to get #1 Billboard Hot 100, pretty amazing. In 1996, Dr. Dre presents Aftermath. We got the official clip of "Been There, Done That." This song's all whether it's Dr. Dre was well and truly part of gangster rap, this is very much of saying a farewell to this part of his career. This song is very smooth in many ways. We've got an official clip of this one below. Very smooth, and it talks about his rag to riches story. This is what makes West Coast rap so important, and that is it actually wears its heart on the sleeve as far as the lyrics and the stories that it tells. String forward to 2022, yes, he's still around, and he got to perform on the Super Bowl. We got a live clip of this one with such iconic artists as Snoop Dogg and Eminem. Just see the crowd's reaction when Dr. Dre makes an appearance. He's absolutely massive, make no mistake about how influential this guy has been, not just in singing and rapping, but also in production. Massive influence indeed. He did release 3 albums. In 92 he had the album Chronic, 99 he had the album 2001, in 2015 the album Compton. He's won 3 American Music Awards and 8 Grammy Awards, including a Lifetime Achievement Award. So he's been well and truly acknowledged by the industry. So it's good to be able to pay tribute to this tower of American hip-hop well and truly. So the links to those 6 clips are in the description below, and I've also included my last video from Kid Rock, so if you want to recap on him, feel free. Well, if this is your first time to Life Reflection through music, and as you can tell, we go through every conceivable genre here. Thank you for stopping by. It's really great to see everybody here. So if you've come back for another one, or this is your first time, welcome. Well, that's it for today. Next time we're going to continue on with the rap scene and Jay-Z. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.